Chapter O Canada, page 22. I'm glad that I had set under my sleeping bags the plastic poncho that my buddy Marius had given me. The dew was definitely abundant. At 8 a.m., when I entered the restaurant, the same staff that was there the prior night asked me where I'd slept. I answered them in the field across the road. I sipped a few coffees until 10 o'clock, and I attacked the road after that. At 11:20, Paul, reference 47, in his 2008 Toyota Tundra, picked me up and brought me to Swift Current. He has never hitchhiked. We talked about a bunch of things and laughed a lot, so much that I even forgot to ask him what he did for a living. When he dropped me off at the Swift Current McDo, he told me to take a look at his license plate to see what was written on it. Well, it was written 0000000. I was missing 50 cents to offer myself the coffee and muffin deal, so I asked if I could bum that sum from him. With a smile, he emptied his pocket and gave me in all $2.10. I sat at the McDo from 11:20 to 12:30. I took advantage of the telephone inside to make few calls. At 12:45, a big freight liner driven by a man, reference 48, picked me up. On the way, we made 2 deliveries. The first one was some kind of machinery at a private house, and the second one was all kind of tires at a small general garage. After those 2 deliveries, I started to doze off. I forgot to ask his name. He woke me up a little before getting to Regina. He let me know that he had to let me off soon, because he didn't want somebody around the company yard see me getting out of the truck. He said that there was lots of big mouths around, and that he was not supposed to have passengers on board. No problems. Thanks a lot for the ride, buddy, and see you later. It was only 16:20 when I found myself somewhere unknown close to downtown. Not being sure of my way, I stopped at an auto parts store and inquired how to get to the downtown Salvation Army Waterston Center. On his computer, the young man entered the center address on Google and printed up my way from there. I arrived in time for supper. Being already in the system, they let me have supper first. After I had a short interview, since we were Friday, they gave me a bed until Monday, a well-deserved 3 days break, I hope. Here's a little story about one of my stay at the Regina Salvation Army Waterston Center. A few years ago, in the middle of the 2000s, I was coming back checking, of course, from out west. Having stopped in Regina, I went to the Waterston Center to rest for a night or two. I believe that it took me a while to get Regina. I don't know, it took me a couple of days or whatever. Anyway, after my interview, the intake worker came to show me my bed in the dormitory. While I was making my bed, another client was making his bed also straight across from mine. We talked a bit. When he learned that I was heading all the way to Quebec, he looked at me and told me his story. He lived in Oshawa, east of Toronto. Him and his wife had a fight 4 days before. Wanting to avoid having the argument turning into something more serious, he just split hitchhiking his way out of it. But once he got to Regina, he felt some remorse. He went to the social assistance office and explained his case to a very comprehensive female caseworker. She gave him a voucher for a one-way Regina-Oshawa Greyhound bus ticket. The poor fellow went to the bus depot and got his ticket. Happier somehow, but sheepishly, like a sheep, SHAEEPISHLY, sheepishly, called his wife. When his wife at the other end answered the phone and learned that he wanted to come back, she told him that, "I don't want to see your fucking face anymore." So he brought out from one of his coat pocket a beautiful brand spanking new, unnamed, Greyhound Regina Oshawa one-way bus ticket. He told me, "There you go, buddy." I tried to tell him that I didn't have enough money to compensate for the ticket. I guess that he didn't give a fat rat ass about it. The day after, I took the bus for Toronto. I had a little cash on me, enough to buy something to eat once in a while. I arrived in Toronto in mid-afternoon. I went to the Salvation Army Gateway Center and registered for the night. After supper, I went to check out the Much Music Award show. 1 hour into the show, not even 50 feet from me, in a glass corridor were playing the Beastie Boys. After the show, I went back to the gateway. In the morning, I returned to the bus depot to resume my trip to Oshawa. I sat outside before we left, the bus at 25 minutes. So you go outside, you don't go too far, you just sit down there, path. You sit down by the wall and some old man. After the show, I went back to the gateway. In the morning, I returned to the bus depot to resume my trip to Oshawa. Now, the waiting part's coming. I sat outside before we left. An older man arrived, sit down and shared a joint of medical pot. Yes, sir. Okay, after a story about the free bus ticket and the poor guy that gave it to me, let's get back to November 21st to 24th, 2014 weekend in Regina. The weekend went by without much worth to mention. Library in the Waterston Station Center on Monday morning, back on the road. But to get back to the highway, I have to walk a good hour or take the city bus, but I can't really afford it, so I'm walking. This was not my first time hitchhiking from there. All across Canada, I pretty well have all my spots, so once I got to the corner of Victoria and Highway number 1, there's a McDo. It wasn't the first time for the staff and for the regular client to see me there either. Showing up at any given time of the day, evening, or night. So I entered. My usual table waited for me. Right by the entrance door, in everyone's plain sight. Of course, it is much easier to draw the people's sympathy or pity. Is the glass half full or half empty? So the sympathy or the pity of the people, if it is possible for them to see you and or talk to you. If you want to see, I need a ride, I'm starving. So, you're hiding in the corner, they don't see you. You get back with a sign, man, you're sitting there, nothing to eat. And maybe some coffee or water bottle, and you're all smiling. You're working on your book and shit, man. Don't worry, I won't die. If I die, well, everybody died. So the sympathy of the people, the pity of the people, if it is possible for them to see you or to talk to you. I got a coffee and made my Winnipeg sign. I had been there for about half an hour and was getting ready to leave when an older man sitting with a group of his own age asked me a few questions and then offered me at 11:15 a $20 bill. Since I had used up all my change to buy my coffee, with joy I accepted his offer. The whole table wished me a good trip and good luck, so I went out to officially start my hitchhiking day. Not long after, a man and 2 female passengers, reference 49, stopped and gave me a short ride to the last ultimate Regina exit, back in the wide-open prairies. They dropped me off at the Co-op gas station at 12:33. At 1 p.m., Gerard Henry Martin, reference number 50, Chef and Arrow, his little 4-month-old puppy, were going to Ontario. Gerard hitchhiked before, mostly in British Columbia, and once from Calgary to Caslow. He told me that it took him quite a while to get there. He just bought a 2005 Ford Focus, 97,000 kilometers, that he drove. So a new car and a new dog. His reason for going to Ontario was to become a godfather and to spend Christmas. Somebody was expecting him in Winnipeg to spend the night. That was why he stopped. He dropped me off at the La Gimaudière exit, Tim Horton. I would have a ride with him somewhere in Ontario, or if I was on the road, the next morning when he would drive by. Thanks to the man, $20. A lack of nothing during my night at Tim.